from taxpayers, from Palestinian people. And only 10% comes from
and the
foreign
Israeli
aid.
government.
In contrary to, no. And Israel is committing piracy, stealing our taxpayers' money, preventing health people from getting their salaries, preventing the Palestinian Authority from... You shut up, please, let me answer. Can you shut up? Don't interrupt me, please.
Well, you don't answer,
or I will be interrupting you each time you speak. You shut up. You are not the one who is asking me the questions. You're not the anchor, so shut up, please. And let me answer.
Should the rest of the world give up on the two-state solution as long as he remains in power? Joining me to debate this is the author of The War on the West, Douglas Murray, and the Palestinian National Initiative leader, Mustafa Barghouti. Mr. Barghouti, let me start with you. Your reaction to my interview there with Mark Regev.
Well, my reaction is that Mr. Regev speaks about Palestinians have to give up. Give up what? I don't understand. And he wants peace. He wants security without ending the Israeli occupation. He ignores the basic facts, which is that Israel has conducted ethnic cleansing against 70% of the Palestinian people, forcing them to become refugees, and is depriving them from coming home for all these 75 years. Second is ignoring that Israel is conducting the longest occupation in modern history, 56 years of occupation of West Bank and Gaza. He's ignoring the fact that we are all suppressed by Israel, not only in Gaza, but also in the West Bank. We are being killed in the West Bank. We are being killed in the Gaza Strip. He speaks about that the numbers of victims is incorrect. I mean, this is very silly because I think the health ministry has issued the names of everybody that is killed with their ID numbers and their age and everything. So unfortunately, what we've heard is the same thing that Israel has been doing for all the last 75 years, repeating the same thing and expecting different results. A very wise Jewish man by the name of Albert Einstein said something very wise. He said, it is insanity to keep repeating the same thing and expect different results.
Well, actually, Actually, I can tell you he didn't actually say that, but it's a quote often ascribed to him. But the point is there. Douglas Murray.
But the point is correct.
Okay, I'll take the point. There's no record of him ever actually saying it. Let me ask you, Douglas, about this. You and I debated this a lot. You have a very firm position, completely behind Israel, which I completely understand. Does anything that's going on now in terms of the withdrawal of so much support now from allies of Israel, does any of it give you pause for thought about how this actually ends? Because I'm not sure the Israeli government knows how this ends, and that concerns me.
Well, I think the Israeli government knows better than most people, certainly most pundits, about how it might end. I think that there are several things I have to say in reply to Mr. Barghouti, by the way. First of all, when I was on this show last with Mr. Barghouti, he said that he hadn't said something he said, and we actually had to issue a confirmation on the program subsequently that he had in fact said the words that he had denied saying, but that had come out of his mouth praising the so-called martyrs. Let me say two other things. Firstly, on the question of the West Bank, frankly, in Israel, there are very few people in Israel who believe that even if you can have a two-state solution, now is a good time to talk about it. I was in the Knesset, the parliament, earlier today, and among other people saw the head of the left-wing opposition, Mr. Lapid. He doesn't believe this is a time to speak about a two-state solution. Why? Because if you gave a state to the Palestinians, and don't forget, Israel did give a state to the Palestinians in 2005 in the Gaza, and look what we got from it. The world got its money ransacked, the Hamas leaders making themselves fantastically rich and then sending rockets into Israel. So the first thing is, even the most left-wing figures in Israeli politics don't think this is a good time to talk about the two-state solution because, among other things, it would suggest that there was a reward for the terrorists of October the 7th. And the reward for the actions of that day was to double down on giving the Palestinians yet another state. The second thing that has to be said about that, if I may, is that on the subject of the West Bank, if you go to the West Bank, as I was again the other night, and if you stand in the hills overlooking Israel, you will see from those hills the lights of Tel Aviv, the city I'm standing in at the moment. You will see the lights of Haifa, and you'll see the lights of Ben Gurion Airport. Now, knowing what Israel knows about what Hamas did with the Gaza, making it into a military infrastructure and firing rockets at southern and central Israel, why on earth would the Israelis give another piece of territory which they didn't have security over in the West Bank to another Palestinian faction, which would have the ability to fire similar rockets at every single part of Israel? And I need to add one other thing, quickly. On the subject of the Palestinian Authority, many people outside Israel seem to think that the Palestinian Authority is, as it were, the peaceable wing of Hamas, or is the sort of Sinn Féin to Hamas's IRA. That is not the case. The Palestinian Authority, as well as being a deeply corrupt entity, which I don't need to tell Mr. Barghouti about, he knows well about that, as well as being a deeply corrupt entity, the Palestinian Authority that is funded by the Israelis, as well as the Europeans, the British, and the rest of the international community, pays salaries to terrorists. It pays salaries to the people who kill people in Israel. And that is something absolutely impossible to make peace with.
I just heard Mr. Barghouti use the word disgusting. So, Mr. Barghouti, over to you.
It is disgusting. It is
well,
disgusting.
Mr. Governor.
Douglas Murray, once again, countering the points by Mr. Barghouti. And, you know, it's hard to see a solution that's ever going to come about from this because of the fact that you have the corrupt PLO, and then you have the terrorist group Hamas. And the PLO can also probably be labeled right up there as a terrorist group. You have the leaders of Hamas, the leaders of the PLO, sitting in penthouses and multi-million-dollar mansions in the country of Qatar, siphoning off the monies that they've received from Western European countries, any of the IMF funds, any banks, any monies that have come from the United States, all that money that was given to the PLO and to Hamas has been used to enrich those leaders of Hamas and the PLO that drink their wine, eat their caviar, live their life of luxury, send the lower rung thugs and people to go fight their battles for them as Hamas terrorists while they just sit back and relax and get fat off feeding at the trough of the money that's been given to them. In 2005, Israel left the Gaza. They forcibly took Israeli citizens out of their homes that they had built. They dragged them physically out of their homes, took them away. Not a single Jewish person was left in Gaza. And why on earth, as Douglas says, why on earth would they give the same type of situation to the West Bank when he says he's looking off the hills there, the West Bank, and he can see Tel Aviv, the airport, others that would just, and then to reward them for what the terrorist act they did on the 7th of October? Nobody's going to do that. Peace is still way out, way out. It's not going to come in the next few months. It's just not going to happen. Anyways, folks, this is what we have on tap for you today. Going to be more of Douglas Murray and Piers Morgan and the gentleman from the Palestinian Authority. You're watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nasir, where I give you my political prescription from my political perspective. What happens when you have people like Douglas Murray, Piers Morgan meeting with the PLO, trying to figure out what's going to happen? You've got culture, then social media. You've got religion. You've got terrorist groups. You've got people that are insane. You've got people that are sane. They all come together. Let's get back to more of the interview right now.
think you have to be fair. You can't bring Mark Regev and give him like 10 or 15 minutes and then bring another pro-Israeli and make him share the time with me. You have to be fair in giving me enough time, because what we've just heard is absolutely rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. Just repeating Israeli propaganda, just repeating false, and I don't agree with him that he has verified what I said. I don't agree with him totally. And he is repeating the same aggressive and fascist speech. They don't.
And could the same be said for you? That you're just repeating the same talking points from the Palestinian Authority, from Hamas?
Want two states. What do they want to do with the 7 million people? Palestinians, 7 million Palestinians live on the land of historic Palestine, equal to the number of Jewish people. What is the solution? They don't want two-state solution? Fine, let's have one democratic state with equal rights for everybody. But no, Netanyahu and his fascist government, he has fascists in his government. He has Smotrich and Ben-Gvir, who call themselves fascist. These people don't want to see a two-state solution, don't want to see one democratic state. So their solution is exactly what they are trying to do in Gaza now, which is genocide and ethnic cleansing. Genocide. It is genocide what's happening, because we are talking about 32,000 Palestinian people killed, including those under the rubble, and 64,000 people injured, 63,000 people injured. That is 4% of the population. If that had happened in the United States of America, you would be talking about 12 million people killed or injured. Is that acceptable?
Okay.
Is it not that Israel is occupying the West Bank?
Okay, let me
Isn't the United States of America saying that there is occupation?
Okay,
The
Mr.
international
Barghouti,
law says there is occupation.
I hear you. I'm going to go back to Douglas. So Ephraim Mervis, the UK's chief rabbi, has said that using the word genocide to describe Israel's actions in Gaza is an increasingly frequent disingenuous misappropriation of the term. He said the use of the term is a moral inversion which undermines the memory of the worst crimes in human history and designed to tear open the still gaping wounds of the Holocaust.
Let me just quickly say this about the genocide thing. Of course that's the case. Mr. Barghouti likes to throw around the word fascist. Fine, I'll throw it back at you, Mr. Barghouti. Not just a fascist, but an apologist for terrorists. Fine. We can all throw around slurs at each other. But more important is the fact that you said that I had told lies. Unlike you, I don't tell lies. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Unlike you, I don't speak out of two sides of my mouth. I'm speaking out of one side of my mouth, and it's direct at you. So let me just correct what you just said. You said what I said were lies. Unfortunately for you, I have here with me the amended Palestinian Prisoners Law of 2004. Now, Mahmoud Abbas, who now runs the Palestinian Authority, signed this into law. This means that, and I'm quoting Article 2 here, prisoners, anyone incarcerated in the occupation's prisons for his participation in the struggle against the occupation will be given a salary by the let me finish my point. Will be given a salary by the Palestinian Authority. Oh, you think they're freedom fighters? Well, let me tell you another couple of things then. Because everyone watching pays their taxes, and some of their taxes go to the Palestinian Authority. Here's the budget, the Palestinian Authority in 2018. This is the PA's own budget, Mr. Barghouti, so don't lie about that. $162 million was allocated to the Prisoners and Released Prisoners Ministry. In 2018, approximately $193 million was given by the PA to families of the martyrs. There is an increasing list, depending on how many Jews you've killed, of the amount of money you get. Is the Palestinian Authority doing that or not, Mr. Barghouti? Because I have their budget in my hand.
Okay, Mr. Barghouti, out of
Wow. Douglas Murray bringing the receipts. He's got the Palestinian Authority budget would basically say they pay to slay, they pay to slay. Right? He's bringing the receipts. Let's hear the response by Mr. Barghouti.
Question.
Yeah, but I am sure your guest has to be a bit polite. You can't keep saying
well, you can answer that
lying.
one question.
Well, I will answer it. Yes, they support the prisoners' families. They support as form of social security support. They support I mean, nobody.
social
Even if you
security.
consider, even if you consider somebody is doing something wrong, you cannot punish his children and his wife in an act of collective punishment.
This is
That's what they are
salaries to the
calling
people
about.
who do
No,
the
no, no,
terror,
wait,
as you
let me
well
finish.
know, Mr.
And then
Barghouti.
you said something wrong also. Palestinian Authority really does not, I don't defend the Palestinian Authority, but I'm telling you, 90% of the Palestinian Authority budget comes from taxpayers, from Palestinian people. And only 10% comes from
And the
foreign
Israeli
aid.
government.
In contrary to, no. And Israel is committing piracy, stealing our taxpayers' money, preventing health people from getting their
can't answer
salaries,
the question.
preventing the Palestinian
answer the
Authority from. You shut up, please. Let me answer. Can you shut up? Don't interrupt me, please.
Well, you don't
Or I will be
answer, though, do
interrupting
you?
you
You
each
don't
time you
answer.
speak. You shut up. You are not the one who is asking me the questions. You're not the anchor, so shut up, please. And let me answer. I am saying.
Wow. Look at this. Unbelievable. Oh my goodness. You told Douglas Murray to actually shut up. Okay. That guy has some balls on him there, some cojones. And, sticking up for himself, basically. Okay. All right. Amazing. Let's get back to it.
What you are
Why don't
trying
you
to do
answer?
here is to mislead the discussion. The main discussion here is there Israeli occupation of Palestinian land or not? If people are occupied, what does international law says? International law says that people who are under occupation have the right to struggle against their occupiers.
No,
using all
it
forms.
doesn't.
No. That's what the UN says. You can't deviate the discussion. And the main fact here is that the problem we have is that Israel is occupying Palestinian land, and Israel is oppressing Palestinian people. Since 1967, Israel conducted 1 million arrests against the 7 million people who are living there. How could this be acceptable?
Okay,
What we see here is the worst
okay.
and most difficult
I have to
occupation
answer
in modern
that.
Just to be
history.
clear, I am the anchor.
Occupation is okay.
I am the anchor, and I'm now going to Douglas respond to that. Douglas.
Two things.
Is
First of all,
occupation
Mr.
okay?
Barghouti
Answer me.
talks about the
Is
Israelis
Israel
not
Mr. Barghouti,
wanting
let
a
Mr.
two-state
Murray
solution.
speak, please.
Mr. Barghouti
answer
doesn't
me.
want a
Mr.
two-state
Barghouti,
solution.
Mr.
Are
Barghouti,
they
let Douglas
occupying
Murray
us or
respond. Don't talk over him.
Yeah, okay, fine, please.
Mr. Barghouti doesn't want a two-state solution because he doesn't want a Jewish state. He wants the river
That's
to the
not
sea
true.
to be a Palestinian state, ruled by him and his corrupt friends. But secondly, he cannot answer the question I've put to him repeatedly. This
think
is the
the main
PA budget. It rewards terrorism. And let me just finish, Mr. Barghouti, since I allowed you that right in the end. This budget not only extends to rewarding the people who carry out acts of terrorism against Jews and the families of people who do, thus incentivizing terror, and that's the Palestinian Authority.
You
The
are
Palestinian
deviating the
Authority has
discussion.
also now the Palestinian Authority has also now committed to pay salaries to the fighters and the terrorists of Hamas from October the 7th and their families. So tell me, please, Piers, or Mr. Barghouti, where is the good negotiating partner on the Palestinian side here exactly?
Well, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap this by saying this. I don't think there is a good negotiating party on either side. I don't think you can possibly have peace with Hamas still in place. I don't think we're going to achieve peace with Benjamin Netanyahu in charge of Israel and his hardline right-wing cabinet. So if you want my honest view, I think we need a completely clean broom of leadership, and that's the only way this is ever going to get resolved. But I appreciate you both.
Well, Piers Morgan is saying back there is saying that he doesn't think anything is going to happen with these two present governments. I have to agree with him, but here's one thing. Peace was never established with other governments. What is the constant, the one constant in the Mideast? You have had various governments that have come up through on the Israeli side, but you have had one constant for at least 2, maybe 2.5 decades of Hamas controlling Gaza. And the Palestinian Authority is literally in the background because Hamas has come to the forefront. And so You may have another government come. You may have the Netanyahu government gone, and another government comes in place, but you're still going to have to deal with the terrorist group Hamas, as well as the PLO. And when 7 or 8 times you've already given up the land, you've given up and said that go ahead and we'll allow you to make the two-state solution. We'll give you a chance to have your own country, your own state. They've said no. They don't want it. So now what are you left with? With Hamas, it's either or. We want all the land, get rid of all Jewish people who leave, and secede all territories back, and that'll just be fine. Even if that were to be done, you think the problem's going to end there all of a sudden? No. They're going to find something else to attack. Then they say, hey, we got this. We converted Israel into Palestine. We got the land back. It's all Palestinians now. You think that it's going to end right there? Of course it's not. Of course it's not. And that's never going to happen. Just like everybody goes back and says, oh, this goes back to 50 years, 70 years, 100 years, decades, thousands of years. Look, folks, Israel's there to stay. Whether you like it or not, they're there to stay. The West Bank, it's there to stay. Gaza is there to stay. In 2005, when every single Jewish person was forced back and taken out of their homes, so Gaza was left to be 100% Palestinian. 18, 20 years ago. $19 years, right? 19 years ago. What the hell have the Palestinians and Hamas done in Gaza? They opened up any brand new hospital, brand new university, brand new libraries, brand new schools, brand new roads, brand new infrastructure, brand new homes, brand new housing. The billions and billions of dollars that were given to them, did they give that out to the Palestinian people there? No. Where'd all that money go? To building terror tunnels underneath, to buying rockets and ammunition and guns and armaments for the terrorist organization. And millions upon millions upon millions of dollars siphoned off for the terrorist leaders who are sitting high on the hog in Qatar. And the PLO acolytes as well. And not a single dollar went to do anything on the West Bank or Gaza. Think about that, folks. Think about that. Anyways, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasir. If you haven't done so already, we'd love for you to subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow us. You all know what to do. Take a look at our video links above and below. My final thought, as always, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.